Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. So, we're going to jump into our topic today. The topic for the day is why do endocrinologists matter? And this came up because I made a post talking about how I recommend reproductive endocrinologists over OBGYNs. And a lot of y'all already know why. You've been through it. You know why. You could probably do a live on it yourself. But for everyone that doesn't know yet, I wanted to do this live for you. I consider it a basic part of your care team for PCOS, and you do need a team. So we're going to get into it today about what that team looks like, the difference between a reproductive endocrinologist and an OBGYN, why I feel like you'll benefit best from seeing an endocrinologist no matter where you are in your journey, and we'll talk about some key mindset shifts that you should make as you put together your care team for reversing PCOS. Remember, this group stands for not just managing the symptoms of PCOS, but reversing it and really learning what is needed for long term reversal of PCOS. One moment, y'all. My battery is dying. Okay, there we go. So, thank you. You want to know what is needed for long term reversal of your symptoms. And so, one of the key things that is different between an OBGYN and an endocrinologist is that because of their training, they look at the body very differently. Endocrinologists are trained to go deeper into what is lying beneath your endocrine system's imbalances. What is driving hormonal imbalances? They want to know and do the in depth lab work from the very beginning. OBGYNs are more so trained into specializing in what is going wrong and treating your symptoms, whether that's going wrong, what's going wrong in your pregnancy, for childbirth, postpartum, or other stages of womanhood. They are looking at your body through the lens of symptom management more times than not. Now, keep in mind, every practitioner, every medical provider you're going to see is an individual person. And like all individuals, there's going to be nuances. So, of course, we're talking in generalities today. We can only speak in a general term, but by and large, if you talk to other women and what they have experienced, most of them have had way better experiences in terms of the depth of care and the listening that happened when they began to share their symptoms. So let's open the floor in the comments if you could share what has been your experience between OBGYNs versus endocrinologists, what has gone well for you, what has not gone well on both sides of the fence. In general, though, I prefer for my clients to work with an endocrinologist, a reproductive endocrinologist who's trained and more likely to be up to date with current research and methodologies in treatment so that you can get medical assistance and support that's in alignment with the route that we're taking in naturally reversing PCOS. I've had clients come back and show me the protocol that their endocrinologist put them on, which a lot of times did not involve medication. And for someone who was in this group, then you're most likely interested in the natural route and you want to be with a medical provider who will support you in the path that you're choosing. You always want to make sure that you're in the advocacy seat, you're in the seat of authority when it comes to your health, especially things that have to do with your womb health. You do not want to be pressured or pushed into thinking that a hysterectomy is the only option for all of these issues that have anything to do with heavy bleeding, fibroids, and such. And so you want to work with somebody who can stick with the least invasive measure first before they start jumping to the most invasive measure, and work with you to explore all of your options, because there's a lot of them, and they don't have to be so invasive. They don't have to come with their own side effects and downsides to the point where now you're recovering from the downsides of what happened through the person that was supposed to be helping you. I cannot tell you, over the years now that I've been able to speak with you all, be it in this group, on sales calls, as clients, there is an across the board experience where you are talking to people about your symptoms. You're talking to your medical provider about your symptoms. You are sharing what's happening. And not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And those things are being downplayed. If that ever happens, no matter what type of provider it is, you've got to become the advocate and the authority over your body, over your health, and over your womb. And you have to make that next step to say that I will not let anybody pressure me into a direction that's not already in alignment with where I was leading myself. We have to be the feminine leaders of this feminine temple and take this body to the providers and practitioners that will support her in the way that we want to be supported. You deserve to be with providers and practitioners that see you as a whole person and not just a set of symptoms, a weight on the scale. When you walk into your provider's office, if the first thing they're saying to you is just lose weight, go on birth control, and get on metformin, that's not the provider for you if this is the route that you want to take. You have the right to leave, to tell them that that's not what I'm going to do. If you can't work with me with something else, then I'll find another provider. And you go and do the legwork to find the right person for you. These are key mindset shifts because you have to take control over your health. A lot of these people are just people. Even though they have degrees, they have medical degrees, and they are specialists, they are still people. And that does not mean that you're always going to get the best from people. It does not mean that you're always going to be, that they're always going to have your best interest in mind. So you need to stay on guard. Be mindful, not paranoid or overly cautious, but mindful. Be aware of the language they're using, the energy, the vibe. You know when something is off. Don't question yourself because we've gone through too much. As a collective of women, the diaspora, women of the diaspora, have gone through too much in the medical field to think that every provider is on our side. Systemic racism is real, and it's very real in healthcare. So we have extra hurdles to jump over in order to get proper care. It just is what it is. And so we, above most groups, have to take autonomy, authority over our health, over our bodies, over our wombs, over our symptoms, and look at our symptoms as the body's way of communicating with us versus thinking that something is just wrong with us. We are not in battle with our bodies. We are in conversation with our bodies. And we need providers that can help us have deeper conversations and understanding what the body is trying to say. So if you don't currently have a reproductive endocrinologist, I definitely recommend that you go ahead and find one. It is one of the prerequisites of working with me. I help you. If you don't already have one, you at least need to be in agreement that you will secure one, because I need you to be with the right medical provider so that what we're doing is not then sabotaged by your provider. There have been times, specifically, especially when it comes to insulin resistance and diabetes, where I have worked with a client. We're starting to make beautiful progress, reversing the A1C and the diabetic symptoms. They go in to see their provider. The provider is not on board with the approach. And because of that doctor patient relationship, there is a power dynamic. The doctor is the more powerful person in that dynamic because they have the medical authority behind what they're saying. No matter if you still, at the end of the day, have the right to say yes and no to anything that they recommend, there is still a power dynamic, and it can be very distressing for your medical provider to not back up what you're doing with the holistic provider, with a health coach that is non-medical. I do not provide medical care. I provide assistance, support, and coaching and education to help you make behavior changes that are long lasting, that will lead to the reversal of PCOS, of diabetes, of hypertension, and such. And so we need that relationship that you have with your medical provider to be in support of what you're doing over here in the natural route. And then I always suggest and recommend and really require you to seek out an acupuncturist, if at all possible, to join your care team. So remember, we talked about the necessity of a care team. You want your medical provider, ideally a reproductive endocrinologist that is on board with the natural route of healing. You want an acupuncturist, which is a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine who has been trained medically to provide care in this Eastern mindset and modality of medical care. By combining the information that we get from the endocrinologist and the acupuncturist together, we create a whole picture of what is going on inside your body that is coming from both the East and the West perspective, and making it an integrated whole picture together. As the health coach and as your holistic health practitioner, I help you put together an integrated picture of what to do with the information that you're getting from one side and from the other, and putting it into a holistic plan that's also based on your symptoms. So I would do a systems assessment. Every system of your body will go through symptoms that would tell me if that system is imbalanced or not. We would go through and look at your pH, your analysis, and your blood pressure. And with all of this information, I then take a look at all of it and help you create a customized step-by-step plan that's meant for you, where it's not just random. It's not just what worked for such and such or what a social media influencer said. This is a robust plan with a customized approach just for you. And that's how it should be. You should not have to pull from this place and pull from that place hoping that something would work. Hope is not a strategy. We need a concrete plan based on real evidence, like your blood work, like an assessment from me, like an assessment from an acupuncturist, and we bring that all together. The last piece of your care plan that I require for working with me is to get a counselor. You want an LPC, a licensed professional counselor, or you can work with a holistic psychiatrist, depending on the severity of what you have gone through prior to now. If you have gone through severe trauma, and you need to work through that trauma, and it is showing up as a part of your diagnosis with PCOS, wherein your PCOS symptoms can be exacerbating mental health symptoms, and mental health symptoms can exacerbate PCOS symptoms, and it can become a looping cycle. And so we want to disrupt that cycle by getting you professional care if you are not already in the care of someone that can help you handle trauma with experience and guidance and professionalism. We want you to be with a third party who is non-judgmental, who is trained to help you through trauma. Because when we start working through the layers of the physical healing, that means the body is going to get stronger, and it can handle healing the emotional and the past trauma that you went through that was never addressed. And so, because we can anticipate that happening, we want to be proactive and have a licensed professional counselor in your care team. It is also my preference that that person be versed in a specific trauma therapy that's called EMDR, and it is very effective at moving you out of the emotional experience of trauma and into the logical experience of trauma, where we're not stuck in the emotional loop or rehashing all of the emotions of trauma, but we're able to logically process it, and this is going to lead to you forming new neural pathways. What does that mean? That means you get to break out of the old patterns. You get to start forming new emotional patterns, which means that that's going to set the stage for you to form new behavior changes that have to do with your health. So if you come and you want to reach a weight loss goal, you want to do body recomposition, you want to reverse diabetes and heal your metabolism, reverse insulin resistance, all of these things are tied into what we eat, how we move, how we sleep at the bare minimum. And to change all of those things means we have to change how we behave day in and day out. Habit change is behavior change, and behavior change is very hard to do when you're still trapped in the emotional patterns of trauma. So I highly recommend, whether you work with me or not, to get all of these pieces of your care team into place. Get a reproductive endocrinologist that is willing to work with you in partnership and collaboration in looking at the natural route to healing. That's going to do all of your labs from the start, and you don't have to go back and forth with that provider. Get an acupuncturist, someone who preferably is versed in Chinese herbs and will prescribe the right Chinese herbs to help balance the underlying imbalances. If they do not work with herbs and we work together, it's okay. I can guide you as an herbalist to choose the correct herbs once I get the feedback from the acupuncturist as to what is going on with your organs. And then you want a nice counselor. For me, I prefer working with a woman of color. I prefer working with women of color that are versed in trauma therapy as someone who has gone through trauma. And I have not met a woman yet that's diagnosed with PCOS that did not go through some sort of trauma, whether it was in the childhood time, teen, or early adulthood, that was associated with the diagnosis. Because part of what is going on underneath the surface is that our nervous system becomes dysregulated as a response to trauma. And we have to do the work of healing the nervous system, helping the body feel safe again, and letting her let go. And then, in this very calm state, the body can do her job, which is the innate ability to heal, to balance things out. Your body wants to be in balance, wants to be in homeostasis. So comment below and share, what parts of this team do you already have in place? What parts of this team do you need to secure? If you need support and you like to work more in depth, my main coaching program is called Sacred Rising. Sacred Rising is set up to give you everything that you need to reverse PCOS naturally. That means healing your metabolism, insulin resistance, and diabetes. That means healing your period, balancing your hormones, getting out of pain, stopping the heavy bleeding. That means clearing up ovarian cysts and restoring your ovulation. That means being able to get out of mood swings and having a stable mood. That means being fertile and conceiving a child with ease. That's what reversing PCOS really means and what I am helping people with. So if you want those results, Sacred Rising is open. You can come and work with us in the group membership, or you can work with me one-to-one. If you have physical goals like body recomposition and weight loss, You want to tone up, for example, we have a holistic fitness coach that works along with me, and we cross collaborate and help you to make the most out of both sides of the coin, both on the health coaching and the fitness coaching side. The workouts are designed to be PCOS friendly so that they work in conjunction with everything we're doing inside of Sacred Rising. If you want that one-to-one support and you're working on deeper layers of healing, maybe you've been into this for a while. I meet women that have been battling on their own for 9 and more years, and you've done so much, you've accomplished so much on your own. You are strong, you are capable, you do your own research, you show up for yourself, you advocate for yourself already, but there's a ceiling to how much you progress, and you want to be able to progress beyond that. And that's where I come in and I partner with you to get rid of that ceiling, go deeper into the emotional healing, the generational healing, healing the mother wound and things that were passed down from mother to daughter that you are still living out, healing the deeper causes that maybe you haven't gotten to yet. Sometimes we've healed the insulin resistance, but we have not yet to heal the nervous system and the adrenal glands, and that's where the residual issue is coming from. So it helps to have someone to partner with you, even if you've been in this for a long time on your own. I want to invite you to accept that support. So if that resonates with you and you want to come in either on the group side or the one-to-one side, or you want to do both, we can talk about that. So reach out to me. I'm just a message away. I'm going to drop the link for you to read more about Sacred Rising so you can understand what it's like to be in there. And if you have any questions, you can comment below or you can direct message me anytime. To recap, make sure you have your care team in place with a reproductive endocrinologist, an acupuncturist, and a licensed professional counselor. Make sure that you are taking the role of the advocate with authority over your body, over your womb, over your health, over your PCOS symptoms, and that you're remembering that your symptoms are a conversation. You are not at war with your body, you're in conversation with your body. These are the things I really need you to take away from today. Again, if you have any other questions, please drop them below. I will answer them myself. I am just a DM away. And if Sacred Rising is a space for you, come on and join me.